Hello, third graders. I was gonna show you a cool plant that I hear Miss Favada was telling you about. Right here, we got a hanging philodendron plant. It actually is hanging in this basket, and rather than your traditional soil, it's got moss that will suck up that water. You can see the really cool roots coming out of it here. Do you see those roots? But the way these plants live, you have these trees, and these actually grow out of those large trees towards the top, and their roots kind of come out. So they're attached to the side of trees. So this will continue to kind of get larger and larger. So it's pretty big right now, and it's time to water it, and I hear that that's what you wanted to see. So one of the things to do is mist it. So you could give it a little mist to let the water get on the leaves themselves. Sometimes you gotta be real nice and you wipe off the leaves. But I'm gonna show you when we fully water, so I'm gonna soak all this moss. So first I have to catch any water that would spill out. So what I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna take this bucket and place it right under the plant, like that, or it's a bowl. But you see that? Now, just take my watering can. See it kind of draining out of the plant there, dripping down. I'm gonna do this a few times to give a chance for all this moss to really soak up the water. Our daughter says it's the plant is peeing, but it's not really getting rid of excess that it does not need, it's just draining through. So I'll occasionally come back, add some water, and give a chance for this moss to really soak up that water. See the water just pouring out of it there? So you know what? I'm gonna actually show you guys two more pretty cool plants. All right, so now this is another plant. This one's super cool because this is a carnivorous plant. Now, do any of you know what carnivorous plants are? So these are actually plants that eat insects. They don't just consume nutrients from the soil and water. They need to eat living things to also stay alive. So you might be wondering, why is it in this little glass house? Well, so this is a terrarium to keep a higher humidity environment. So it has its own ecosystem within this glass little house here. And you see these little water droplets on the outside? You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and turn it around. See all the condensation? So these plants live in a bog environment. Do any of you know what a bog is, or can think of what a bog is? So it's more marshy kind of lands where the soil is always wet and there's a lot of high humidity, and there's also bugs for this plant to eat. So we're kind of recreating that environment because naturally we don't live here in a bog. And so there's a lot of sunlight that comes through this window, heats it up, helps create that humidity. And then also, what's the one other thing you think I need to feed this plant? Well, I bet you're thinking I need to feed it flies. But actually, since Mrs. Favada wouldn't like me keeping a whole bunch of flies that I occasionally feed to the plants, I have this carnivorous plant supplement. I will feed this guy right here. So what typically happens, there's these little hairs inside of the fly trap, and as a fly crawls around inside and triggers in a sequence, at least I think it's like 3 of those hairs, it'll close up to eat the bug. So we're just gonna go ahead and give it a drop of this supplement, and we'll see it close up. So you see it's like in a little dropper. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the top, and we'll watch that one right here. Bloop, there it goes. And then I'm gonna trigger the hairs, Whoop. Did you see that? Was that cool? Oops. So yeah, it went ahead and collapsed up, and if that was a fly, see how fast that went? It would have totally got that fly. I got one other cool plant, similar, because it's also a carnivorous plant. All right, and here's our last plant. I'll have to stand on my tiptoes to show you. It's another hanging plant. This hanging plant is in a pot though, so we're not gonna, when we water it, even though it still has the moss in it, nothing's gonna drip out. It all stays within here. So this plant is a pitcher plant. It's another carnivorous plant. So these have these really cool pitfall traps. So there's actually a digestive liquid inside of this. So similar to how in your stomach you have digestive liquids to process all your foods, there's a digestive liquid inside of this where a little fly will come along, fly inside, get caught in that liquid, and then they'll slowly get digested and eaten by the plant. I end up feeding this plant in the same way as the other two that you saw. So I'll mist, I'll water, and then within these pitfall traps, I'll also use a carnivorous plant dropper. There it goes, just one drop inside of one of these pitchers so it could eat. So that's, yeah, my pitcher plant. I hope this was fun for you today, checking out all of our plants. We got many more, but these are some of the cool ones. Be good for your teacher.